Hey, what is up, you guys? Bessie from Star Wars Comics here, and today, my friends, we're talking about this guy right behind me. So, listen, we all know Palpatine's contingency orders. They ran from order number 1 to order 150, the most famous one being 66. But in my mind, there's a story in there in the comics that shows us perhaps the last order. It explains the pragmatism and the plans that Palpatine had right from the start, and that included Darth Vader, even when he was not Sidious's apprentice still. So for today's video, what I'm gonna show you guys is how Darth Vader learned about order number 150, or as some like to call it, 151. This revelation came from none other than fear. As Yoda said,
"Fear is the path to the dark side."
Fear does lead to the dark side, although Vader at this point was completely enthralled by it, and just as he was starting to enjoy his power, the effects of Order 66 started to weigh in on Darth Vader as he slowly started to suspect that his time would soon come as well. Palpatine would execute the Vader Order. So the entire Skywalker saga is basically manipulated by Palpatine if we look at it closely. In fact, good old Palpy started planning as soon as he realized the power of Anakin and envisioned him as an apprentice. From that point on, everything proceeded as he had foreseen, and it was all leading up to Order 66, an executive order that eliminated the Jedi entirely and branded them as traitors. This was a ploy, of course. We saw the entirety of it in the prequels and how it played out, but as soon as Anakin accepted the dark side and became Sidious's apprentice, he was in on the entire plot to take out the Jedi and reform the Republic into his new empire. He learned quickly that Sidious was behind the entire thing. The Clone Wars, the Separatists, everything. I wish we could have seen his reaction to discovering this, but in any case, we get to see him slaughtering the entire Separatist Council and learning how Sidious manipulated the Trade Federation and the rest of the Separatists so much that they were basically sheep led to the slaughterhouse. Vader realized the pragmatic genius that was Sidious at that moment. I mean, think about it. He had manipulated both sides. Never mind that he fooled some nincompoops in the Separatist Council, but he also hid right under the Jedi Order's nose. Keep in mind that Sidious masqueraded as an elderly, good old man in front of highly Force-sensitive Jedi Masters such as Yoda, Mundi, and Windu. They never knew what hit them. They didn't realize he was a Sith Lord until the very end when Anakin had to blatantly tell them. That's how perfect Sidious's plan was. Well, naturally, you can imagine that after everything went the way it did, Vader now started having his own concerns. Since Sidious considered the Jedi his enemies and prepared the Special Order once they started a revolt, it was obvious to the new Sith Lord that sooner or later Sidious would not hesitate to execute a similar order to 66, but aimed at him, the Emperor's second in command. If Vader got out of hand, even a little bit, then the 501st would not hesitate to kill Vader if the Emperor executed the order that branded Vader as a traitor. This long-lasting suspicion led Vader to confront Commander Vil about exactly that on Bandomir. Commander Vil was overseeing operations when Vader approached him and demanded he be truthful. Vil hesitated, but of course he accepted. Then Vader gave him the curveball. He asked Vil if the clones had been indoctrinated with a similar order as 66 if for any reason the Emperor gives out the order against Vader. Would the clones try to kill him? Vil again hesitated. He refused to answer directly and told Vader that he doesn't have the authority to divulge that information. But to Darth Vader, Vil's hesitation was as good as a confirmation about his fears. He quickly force-choked Vil and then threw him off the cliff with a push. The poor guy never saw it coming. Vader killed Vil because he knew that since the question was asked, it would eventually make its way to his master. Sidious would learn that Vader was snooping around in the inner workings of Sidious's plans. The Sith Lord chose to tread lightly and not rock the boat with Sidious. With Vil's death, things proceeded the same, and Sidious never did implement the Vader order, although if Vil survived and informed the Emperor about Vader's question, questions, then perhaps Sidious would become paranoid and look at Vader more closely, something that Vader definitely did not want, and that's exactly why he feared Vil. If his curious nature got out, then that would not end well for Vader. With that, we come to the end of this video, but guys, let me know, what did you think of this whole ordeal? Do you feel bad for Commander Vil and how he died, although he was a bloodthirsty clone himself? Talk to us down in the comments. Before you go, I want to thank you for stopping by, guys, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up and hit that bell to get notified the moment a new video is up. Have an awesome day, my Star Wars friends, and may the Force be with you always.